From the Joy News Center. This is News at 8.
Welcome to the Prime Time News Bulletin here on Joy News on Multi TV. Coming up, NPP General Secretary and colleague spared prison sentence for contemptuous remarks, but nonetheless fined and warned to be of good behavior. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has confirmed it will deliver its verdict on the election petition on the 29th of August. Ministry of Trade and Industry designates Kotoka International Airport and Tema and Takrady Port as the only entry point for imported textiles as it moves to check influx of pirated wax springs. AMA chalks success in its battle to keep national monuments and assets in Accra free of desecration from posters. And GMPC launches foundation to provide training opportunities to close the skills gap in the oil and gas sector. We also have sports, showbiz, and international news all coming up.
News at 8 with Israel Lai.
In our very first story, the Supreme Court has imposed a 5,000 Ghana cedis fine on the General Secretary of the opposition New Patriotic Party, Kojo Osue-Friye, for intentional criminal contempt. The court also fined Hobson Adoye with the party's youth wing 2,000 Ghana cedis for the same offense. Though lawyer for the two, Ayikwe Otu, pleaded with the justices to allow his client some time to pay, Joy News' Eric Curtis Howard reports the fine was paid by a member of the party right after the proceedings.
It was a mixture of tension, humor, and laughter inside the chamber when the two, Sir John and Hobson Adoye, appeared before the panel of Supreme Court justices. The first to appear was the NPP General Secretary. His legal counsel, Ayikwe Otu, made a passionate appeal on his behalf.
My Lord, we finished the trial. We are waiting for judgment. I believe that any move on the part of your court to impose a custodial sentence might not augur well in view of the expectation that everybody appears, everybody's talking about peace. We see on the television everywhere, let there be peace, let there be peace, let there be peace. But Lord, we can only pray in hate the peace.
But the bench, presided over by Justice William Atuguba, would not mince words about the conduct of Sir John.
Why should a lawyer of all people, you have made your mark to be what you are through the courts, the legal system, you turn around on whatever, what can enter a lawyer of so many years standing to run down the judiciary, even the apex court. This is the seriousness of the matter, that some people have gone homes too much in this country. And we want to match the power of the state against those people so that they will see how strong they are and how weak the state can be.
Realizing Justice Atuguba was raising the temperature in the chamber, lawyer Ayikwe Otu intervened.
My Lord may take heart. My Lord may take heart. As we grow, we begin to suffer from blood pressure. You don't know me well. Look, I'm saying this just to make a certain point clear. Yeah. My temperature has been... Oh, no. It's very, very normal. But I pray that it doesn't go beyond the normal. No, it's very, I'm assuring. I know myself. Yes. But I've known you for years. When you want to take up judicial arms, you will. But I pleaded with you today never to take up judicial arms.
Ayikwe Otu, who also represented Hobson Adoye, repeated the pleadings he used for the General Secretary, adding that it would be a befitting birthday wish if the justices pardon his clients. His wish was granted to the relief of the two accused persons.
We find him guilty of intentional criminal contempt of this court. Considering the ready admission of guilt by the contemptor and his nationwide education against contempt of court, which we hope is genuine, and the prevailing efforts of the Ghana Peace Council and various religious bodies, the political parties themselves, etc., and the plea of mitigation put in strongly by his counsel, Ayiko Otu, we are reluctantly restrained from imposing a custodial sentence. On the contemptor, we however cannot overlook the fact that the contemptor is a lawyer of 32 years standing and a high-profile officer, General Secretary of one of the biggest parties in Ghana, and the threat to the public peace, which is contemptuous degradation of this court can engender, since it gives the impression that the organs of public authority need not be taken seriously. We impose on him a fine of 5,000 Ghana cedis, or in default 6 months imprisonment. In addition, he should sign a bond to be of good behavior for 6 months, or in default 6 months imprisonment. He should also retract and apologize for his contemptuous utterances over the same Oman FM, the platform on which he indulged in them, within 24 hours. Hobson Adoye, we find him guilty of criminal contempt of this intentional criminal contempt of this court. Considering that he is a layman, unlike Kojo Owusu-Afriye, and considering his ready admission of his guilt, but not forgetting the gravity of his threats, and otherwise for the reasons of peace building by the stakeholders of peace referred to in the case of Kojo Owusu-Afriye, we impose on him a fine of 2,000 Ghana cedis, or in default 3 months imprisonment. He should also enter into a bond to be of good behavior for 3 months, or in default 3 months imprisonment.
Though the 7,000 Ghana cedis fine for the two was settled by party stalwart and former MP PC Apio Ofori, they are still required to be of good behavior lest their case be revisited.
Meanwhile, MPP Chairman Jake Obechebilamte has thanked party sympathizers for their support and prayers he believed helped in the relatively light sentence handed down the two members of the party, Sir John and Hobson Adoye. He also tasked them to remain calm and patiently await the verdict of the Supreme Court.
The sentence brought great relief to the many party supporters and sympathizers who thronged to the court premises to witness proceedings. Party Chairman Jake Obechebilamte was the first to address the media.
Today, we must all of us heave a sigh of relief and a sigh of congratulations to the Supreme Court judges for the magnanimity and sensitivity that they have shown in this manner. I don't think it was lost on anybody that tensions had risen in this country over this matter, and that they have been able to deal with it in a way that satisfies the law and satisfies the sense of justice.
Lead counsel for the petitioners, Philip Addison, also addressed the media.
Long in coming, we've been at this since December, and I'm happy that at long last it has ended. Every day has been a memorable day. Every day has been something new. What is the high point? There have been several rulings against me. I don't think there were low points at all. It's part of the game. You win some, you lose some.
The emergence of Sir John and Hobson Adoye from the Supreme Court shortly thereafter caused quite a frenzy as the horde of journalists rushed to them. Though they refused to speak to the press, the media nonetheless chased them to their vehicles, hoping to steal the soundbites from the two. The two were driven straight to the NPP headquarters, which had been set agog. Sir John then addressed them.
Well, counsel for Kwadwo Osifree and Hobson Adoye Ayikwe says the two were guilty once charged with contempt and that the only way to mitigate their punishment was to plead for leniency.
When your client is facing contempt charges, the presumption is that he is already deemed guilty. Now, the summons will say that you should come and show cause why he should not be sentenced or committed to prison. That is not the opportunity, that is not the occasion rather for you to go arguing as to whether or not he has been properly charged or whether the judges are acting as judges and jurors in their own right, whether there should be a separate prosecutor or whatever. Your duty is merely go there and apologize. Purge yourself of contempt and say things to the judges which will let them show mercy to you. But if you go and you put up the attitude that you think you know better than they do, they had power to punish for contempt. I said the power was even almost arbitrary. But you do not go arguing. What you do is to, apologize and try to purge yourself of contempt. The Liberty Press case, which I have, cited oftentimes, had to do with, university lecturers, who decided to, criticize the bench, and they were put there. They put up a robust argument that they felt they were exercising the right of freedom, of free speech. Now, on the day of the hearing, they filed an affidavit. They took the contrary decision now to rather apologize and to abandon their robust stand. The judge, His Lordship, Mr. Justice Akufo-Addo, said, look, if they had persisted the way they came, it was going to put them away.
Now, some Ghanaians have expressed satisfaction with the sentences given to the NPP General Secretary Kwadwo Osifree and Hobson Adoye by the Supreme Court. Most of them were of the opinion it will send the right message.
The authority of the state must be upheld. Justice William Atikuba. Don't ruin my birthday today. Lawyer Ayikwe Otu. These are words I picked up from listening to the election petition hearing. What did you make of the proceedings today?
They have to punish him. So I'm appreciative about whatever William Atikuba said so far. So they have to, if anything, in terms of something, you have to punish the person so that next time you should know how to talk against the Constitution. That's the only thing I just said. So I trust that how they do their work, they are doing their work. It left to them to judge their whatever they will just announce to the public. So we need peace. That is all.
From my observation, I think it will promote peace. Because if the judges had sentenced those people into imprisonment, it would create something like a riot. I heard this morning, Cabo on Grassroots said that if a big fish like Sir John is put into custody, the riot in the country will be so much. So I think what the judges did today was in the right direction.
That thing cannot bring peace to Ghana. Insulting the president and the magistrate, this one cannot bring peace to our country. So they have to be punished.
I don't know, but actually I'm going someplace.
What about driver?
Me, I don't know.
Oh, you didn't listen?
No.
Okay.
I guess the judges know best. I wouldn't want to be cited for any contemptuous comments. Thank you.
Now, the Supreme Court has meanwhile fixed Friday, August 29, to give its ruling in the case in which the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Nana Akufo-Addo, and two other leading figures challenging the results of the 2012 elections that declared John Mahama as president. President of the panel of Supreme Court Justice William Atikuba announced the date after the bench sought clarifications on the final arguments of the petitioners and respondents. In other news, the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, GEBA, as part of its sensitization program, is cautioning the media to be circumspect in its reportage, even as the nation awaits the Supreme Court verdict on the election petition. Addressing a workshop for practitioners, Executive Director of GEBA, Gerald Ankra, underscored the need for responsible journalism.
The workshop brought together media practitioners from all over the country, as well as members from the National Media Commission and civil society. The GIBA executives took participants through the Code of Conduct, consistent vital guidelines to aid them in their journalistic practice and maintain some level of professionalism. The GIBA executive director expressed worry most media houses over-sensationalize their reportage.
There's been quite a number of issues on air, and this has resulted in contempt cases, and so on and so forth. GIBA, with funding from Star Ghana, therefore decided that, look, we have to really go beyond promulgating the Code of Conduct within this period and to sanitize the airwaves.
Director of Programs at the National Commission for Civic Education, Samuel Ekwamwa, also spoke to Joy News.
Well, it's very important because we are at the crossroads where our nation, our democracy is facing some threats. Even though the democracy is growing, there are so many threats, so many landmines around us that we need to clear, we need to be cautious. And you know, GIBA being an association for broadcasters has a crucial role to play in getting its members to be very responsible around this time, so that together we can overcome the potential threats that is looming over us.
GIBA says it aims at encouraging responsible and objective reportage through this exercise.
We're taking a break, but there's more news coming up. Don't go away. Inspector General of Police Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan has re-echoed the need for police personnel to uphold best practices and ethical standards. He says the police service has been in the news for the wrong reasons in recent times, hence the need for the reminder. The IGP was addressing a parade of over 400 officers and men of the police service in Sunyani as part of his working visit to the Bunahafo region.
The IGP's visit forms part of police preparations towards controlling possible disturbances that may occur after the Supreme Court pronounces its judgment on the 2012 election petition. It also afforded the IGP and the lieutenant the opportunity to explain the new reforms and restructuring of its administration to police personnel in the Bunahafo region. IGP Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan warned that the police administration will not compromise on unethical practices by any police personnel, but will duly recognize good and hard work as well as professionalism. The police chief challenged his men to remain as professional as possible and continue to be loyal to the state, devoid of any partisan coloration.
We just have to continue to train and be professional. We have to be very objective and stay away from any partisan attitudes. Ours is loyalty to the state.
The IGP said his administration is aware of the accommodation challenges facing personnel in the region and assured them of working with government to resolve the problem.
As we carry out these reforms, we are aware of the challenges that all of us face. We are working with government to ensure that some of these challenges, such as accommodation problems, are dealt with.
Director General Technical of the Ghana Police Service, COP Frank Edupoku, expressed dissatisfaction with female police personnel who prefer tight and revealing dresses to those provided by the police administration.
In a professional way, when people see you, they respect you. So if you have been issued with a uniform and you are hanging it in your wardrobe, please bring it out and wear it so that whatever you are expected to do, you do it with that uniform properly.
Nesta Kafuya Joma filed this report from the Bonohafo region.
Now, over the past 15 months, at least 39 armed robbers were arrested, prosecuted, and sentenced to prison by the Ashanti Region Police Command. 18 others were shot dead in crossfire with the police, whilst 3 officers suffered gunshot wounds. This was revealed at the commissioning of the Ashanti Region Police Visibility and Accessibility Headquarters in Kumasi. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin filed this report.
Increased police presence, visibility and accessibility on the streets and communities is a critical approach by police organization the world over in crime prevention. According to the Director General of Police Administration, COP Rosebio Atinga, patrol units of the police service are key to effective community policing, which is why visibility patrols have been increased in the region and elsewhere across the country.
This crime prevention initiative is underpinned by increased police presence, visibility and accessibility on the streets and communities through patrols to reduce the fear of crime and assure the populace of 24-hour police presence.
She said the commissioning of the Ashanti Regional Visibility and Accessibility Patrol Headquarters is the continuation of the process. The department currently has 300 personnel, 20 service vehicles, covering 30 to 31 created duty points within the region. The visibility, according to Rosebio Atinga, does not replace the traditional patrols. She says 200 more police stations are required due to the creation of the 47 new district assemblies.
Our population has increased and communities have sprung up in many locations within our cities where hitherto there were no human habitations. This has led to economic, technological, and sociological advancement, resulting in the emergence of new crime challenges. To address these challenges, the police administration is undergoing a paradigm shift from reactive to proactive approach of law enforcement through the patrol concept.
The police administration has undergone various operational and administrative restructuring to make it more capable of dealing with the ever-changing law enforcement demand and challenges. According to the Ashanti Regional Commander DCOP Augustine Jenin, armed robbery is now on the decrease due to the increased police presence at vantage points. He, however, indicated the biggest challenge confronting law enforcement is the easy availability of drugs and illegal weapons to criminals. He called for a second look at the law.
This is what is fueling the commission of violent crimes all over the place. And if something can be done about the law that makes the possession and the manufacture of illegal weapons in wrong hands more stiffer, it will go a long way to reduce weapon-related crimes in the whole country.
Augustine Jenin appealed for the support of the judiciary and the Attorney General in expediting the criminal justice process. The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Al-Hassan, later inspected the department and toured some parts of the Kumasi metropolis.
Government says its commitment to afford more people tertiary education in the country remains unshaking. Deputy Information and Media Relations Minister Felix Kwakye Ofosu made the undertaking at today's media briefing at the presidency.
The Deputy Minister says, besides measures announced by government last week to absorb the 2 streams of SHS graduates into the various tertiary institutions, more opportunities are also being made available for the youth to pursue higher education.
For instance, which is a public tertiary institution, continues to expand. And very soon, GMPA would have campuses in Tema, Kumasi, and Takoradi, which would allow for greater numbers of Ghanaian students who want to access tertiary education to do so.
He says the committee working on the proposed university to be established in the Eastern region has also gone far with the assignment and will soon present a final report to the President to pave way for its takeoff. The professor says inadequate funds for their work is no new phenomenon which should necessitate a close down of the commission. He says they largely depend on loans from their Research Staff Association, Senior Staff Association, and certain stakeholders such as IDIF in undertaking their various research work since government funding is inadequate. Workers were performing routine duties contrary to reports circulating. The commission was closing down. Some of the scientists spoke of the difficulties they encounter.
Fishermen in Cape Coast are calling on government to increase allocation of premix fuel to justify the recent price increase. According to them, even though they are now paying more, they still receive the normal 2 tankers of fuel a week, which they say is insufficient.
The fishermen say fishing activities in the area have increased. Because of the seasonal nature of fishing, they are always cautious not to suffer seasonal losses, especially during the bumper season of August. Many of them say they work with loans and are affected badly anytime there is shortage of premix fuel. As they depend on fishing to support their children's education, they are appealing to government to do its best in ensuring constant supply of the commodity. Others, however, complain the increment of the premix fuel from 2 cedis 70 pesos to 3 cedis 80 pesos per gallon is affecting business.
We increase in the but still on flow. Into no year pedo flow at least week be aye nyekwa nyefo a week kampona mfi de obotum aboyen because why the man say aye branca sankasa obobo school nti abanu bomazin mo be menyamba no so obotum wakobi
sebasa abana 27 obada wa da man da malama yetumi ye bi da ko say anytime be a week na se be 3 cars and 4 cars ba na yetumi ato because this yala aye Cape Coast bofedu almost about 100 canoes.
However, Ejaubing, a member of the Landing Beach Committee in Cape Coast, tells Joy News the fishermen themselves actually requested the premix increment due to smuggling of the product, but unfortunately it doesn't appear to be yielding results. He therefore urged government to supply them more of the product to meet their demands.
Cape Coast Day, in a fishing activity, every year I don't know why a fishing nets. And so I'm a consignment on each other all the urban at least. And every could be in your bear 4 or 5 cars and chewy. But you who's there, I'm the economy or multi. And then I am not the mara. I know I'm in 2. I have only in 1. And so you manage. But at least every could be our mean 2.
Georgina Pierce report from the Central Region.
After strenuous efforts to stop people from defacing national monuments and structures, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly seems to have found a way out. Take the Akwaje interchange here in Accra, for instance, which has suffered serious desecration over the years. Well, it's been totally spared of the usual posters since the AMA decided to paint it and others like it in the colors of the national flag. Felix Sakoyam of News Generation has more.
A solution which seemed to have eluded city authorities was preventing posters from defacing public infrastructure such as interchange. The Accra Metropolitan Assembly usually rips off these posters, wash the walls of the interchange, and finally paint the walls after several media reports. But right afterwards, new posters find their way onto the walls again, in total disregard of the Assembly's efforts.
After giving countless warnings to individuals to stop turning Accra's interchange into signposts, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly appears to be making a headway, at least for now, after painting the Akwaje interchange and others in national colors.
Has the Accra Metropolitan Assembly finally found a lasting solution to the problem? That's a question for the Metropolitan Chief Executive, Alfred Oko van der Poel.
That goes to show that Ghanaians have great respect for our national policies and standards. The flag of Ghana is a very respectful, event and activity for our national development, and our people have great respect for that. Ghanaians are people with a high sense of commitment and responsibility. When we create the standard and the platform, they will rise to the occasion.
Although the designer of the national flag is unaware of this development, she is not surprised that Ghanaians respect the national colors.
It doesn't surprise me, but I think people who are around now understand why things are changing very fast like that. But if it were a long time ago, they would draw the flag. You wouldn't even pass there and notice it. If you pass, you don't take it for anything. But because of what is happening, people are getting to know that this is for the nation. So maybe if they travel, people will ask them, what is this? And then they have to explain. This is for blood, this is for gold, this for... So that's why I said they are all learning.
Accra Mayor Alfred Oko van der Poel disclosed how the idea came about.
Once Sunday morning, I called my people and I said, let's go to Akwaje interchange. Let's go and do something very innovative. And the president has also, and I have had discussions about the necessary arrangement that has to be put in place to befit the swearing in of the new president and the conditions of Accra to befit us as a nation and as a city. So we went to the Akwaje interchange and we bought paint. I called people in that business. They donated their paints and I said, let's go, let's paint this place the national flag. And I said, I know if we do that, our Ghanaian community will rise up to the occasion.
Should we say time will tell?
The business news at 8. My name is Pakwesi Asari. In our first story, inflation for the month of July went up to 11.8%. This represents a marginal increase from that of last month's figure of 11.6%. It means that although the general price level of goods and services went up, the rate of increase was slightly higher than in the same period last year. Acting Government Statistician Philomena Nyako explained the rise in inflation was mainly due to exchange rate losses. Now, the Ministry of Trade and Industry has designated the Kotoka International Airport, the Tema and Takoradi Port, as the only entry points for textiles into the country. Now, traders wishing to import textile prints are also to send the designs to the Anti-Pirated Textile Task Force for vetting and clearance before proceeding with imports. The ministry made this known during the destruction of some 450 pirated prints seized by the task force.
The Anti-Pirated Textiles Task Force set on fire the pirated print at the Pond landfill site. The task force last year seized about 2,400 pirated prints on the market as part of efforts to save the local textile industry from collapse. But the mode of destroying the seized prints, which remain a major deterrent to perpetrators, was a contention, as many did not support the burning mode. Earlier in the year, the task force destroyed about 1,950 prints but received proposals to donate the remaining 450 to charity. The Trade Ministry kicked against the proposal as it was against the laws of the World Trade Organization. They, however, plan not to relent in clamping down on the trade of pirated prints.
From September 13th, the policy of government is that it's only 3 designated ports, that is Kotoka International Airport, Takoradi Port, Tema Port, that will be used to import textiles into the country. And all those who are to engage in the export and the import of textiles should send their designs to the task force. We have a vetting committee which is headed by Ghana Standards Board, and they will vet whatever print or design that you bring to their notice, to make sure that the design is not an infringement of someone's intellectual.
The Ghana Standards Authority agrees that prints cannot be donated as some toxic chemicals used in their production could be harmful.
Every textile print, before we clear or before we allow it to be used, that print should meet the quality characteristics as stated in our standards for the product. First, we can look at some chemicals, mostly azo dyes. They are not supposed to be used in the manufacture of that product. Now, azo dyes make the colors bright. They are also cheap, and people tend to use that. And when you use that, it is known that they cause injuries to the body. They can harm the body. So we don't allow people items with that chemical to be used. As again, VAT dyes. VAT dyes are the recommended dyes to be used in the manufacture of traditional African textile prints.
He called on security officials at the various exit and entry points to assist them in tracking the textiles that come into the country. Abigail Admakwenchi for Joy News.
Now, in furtherance of its mandate to improve national capacity in all aspects of petroleum operations, the Ghana National Petroleum Council has launched a foundation. The GMPC Learning Foundation, as it's called, will partner educational institutions to provide scholarships to cater for tuition fees and other expenses for beneficiaries. My colleague Marian Toure was at the launch and has the rest of the story.
Section 2, subsection 2 of the PNDC Law 64 requires that GMPC ensures Ghana obtains the greatest possible benefits from the development of its petroleum resources and also ensure the training of citizens of Ghana to meet the skills gap in the sector by developing national capabilities in all aspects of petroleum operations. Chief Executive Officer of the GMPC, Nana Boache Asafo Ajay, sums up the objectives of the foundation.
This foundation will give focus to a large-scale, rapid development of the skills and techniques required to meet the individual and institutional capacity needs of Ghana's oil and gas industry. The objects of the foundation are A, to receive funds from GMPC and other sources, B, invest funds received so as to generate a sustainable income, C, make donations to institutions, projects, and individuals that support the development of national capacity in the oil and gas industry. Support the establishment and development of a GMPC Petroleum Training Institute, and do other such things necessary in the pursuit of the above.
The Minister of Education, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, who is also a member of the board of the Learning Foundation, says partnerships with her ministry will, among others, open avenues for bridging the skills gap in industry. Although admitting that sending beneficiaries overseas to train is expensive, she says it has far more benefits for the nation in the long term.
For me, the more important point is how do we use this as an opportunity to increase local capacity in training. If we can increase local capacity, and we should, they will be able to train the critical mass of people that we need. Sending students abroad is expensive, but sometimes it is necessary. Otherwise, you don't have anyone. But I'd prefer that we put more resources into raising the capacity of our local training institutions so that they can train more for our people. Because it's not just a classroom, it's also attachments. And by doing attachments and so on, we are able to fine-tune industry, also to be speaking to their own needs.
The launch brought together various stakeholders, including the Education Ministry, the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovations, the Ministry of Petroleum and Power, to partner each other for optimum results. For Joy News, Marian Toure reporting.
The Minerals Commission has warned that there could be layoffs in the mining sector, together with a decline in revenues if the impact of falling gold prices is not appropriately managed. According to the Commission, the current trend underscores the need for the economy to be diversified.
Gold prices, which climbed as high as $1,800 per ounce before the year began, have since lost about 30% in value. The precious metal as of June was trading at about $1,200. The mining sector contributes about 27% of the revenue generated by the Internal Revenue Division of the GRA, and for the Minerals Commission, the fall in gold prices will badly affect government revenues, among others.
Even as profits are going down for the mines, also you'd find that government revenue is going to go down. Royalty, corporate tax, and other areas as well. So in doing that, it means production is likely to go down. As production goes down, they will need less and less of human resource. So people will be laid off. And that's how it happens. Indeed, one of the mines, major mines, has said globally, is going to lay off about 1/3 of its corporate staff. And then that could trickle down to the regional locations as well.
Although gold prices are determined on the world market, the Commission believes a diversification of the mineral sector to depend more on other minerals will reduce its negative effects on the economy.
Beyond the mineral sector, looking at the economy at large, diversification is also very important. If minerals are accounting for about 40% of our export earnings, oil is accounting for about 20%, and they both go down, we are in trouble. But if we have a lot more commodities or services which are earning as export earnings, for instance, or revenues, then when one goes down, the impact will not be as much as it would have been if we depended on one or only a few.
The Commission has meanwhile engaged stakeholders in the sector to see how best they can coordinate their activities and ensure the impact of falling gold prices on the economy is mitigated.
That's all for the business news at 8. My name is Parkwesi Asari.
Olympic Stadium in Istanbul. Goals by Bulbak Yilmaz and Umut Bulut in the 5th and 28th minute respectively put the Tex family in the lead at the break. But Ghana responded with 2 goals from Captain Asamoah Gyan in the 63rd and 72nd minutes to restore parity. The next assignment for coach Kwesi Appiah and his lads is the crucial World Cup qualifier against Zambia on September 6 in Kumasi. Now, champions Asante Kotoko will start their title defense of the Premier League at home when the new season gets underway on September 15. The Porcupine Warriors will take on the Adriana Stars at the Barbera Stadium, according to the first-round fixtures released by the Premier League board. Newly promoted sides Inter Allies, Hazakas, Bechem United will all kick off their season at home against fixtures against Dwarfs, Mediama and Amidias respectively. The clash between Asante Kotoko and Hearts of Oak has been fixed for match day 2 on September 22, 2013, when the Porcupine Warriors travel to face the Phobians in Accra. The first round of the league campaign will be brought to an end on December 8, 2013. Still with soccer, and ex-Ghana international Mohamed Polo says Ghana Football Association must follow on the experience of retired Ghanaian players in the development of young players in the national youth teams. The country's current football system has been overly criticized for its failure to churn good materials for the senior national team. And Mohamed Polo, who was a part of the 1978 African Cup of Nations winning squad, has been telling Joy Sports involving ex-internationals will reverse the current trend.
It's very, very important that every player that has played football for some years, especially at the highest level, at the national level, some of us, were able to go, semi-professional and play in Emirates. I was even in Gabon to play. The important thing is to encourage the retired footballers, because the continuation of a retired player is to coach. So all that he need is the theory, and you have to give him that knowledge. That is why the coaching system is there, so that we can impart whatever knowledge we have. We can't die with it. It's very, very important. Some of our colleagues, despite that not every a player should become a coach, but majority of them, it should be helped to coach. As I've coached at the premiership level. I coach outside, but all the opportunity that are there, to be given, it's not given. So they need to give us the opportunity for us to help the young ones, so that they whatever knowledge we have, we can impart it to them. It's like a pass. If you have the idea and you keep it with you, that is even the reason why I decided, because I realize even the system now, because I started my academy 10 years back. I realized, the quality of, the talents are there, but the quality of the players that are coming up, they need some refine with added value.
That'll be all for sports tonight. My name is George Adejuni. Do have a good night. Israel will join us with showbiz.
As the third season of the music talent show Vodafone Icons Street Edition gradually grinds to a halt, the show is set to revisit its roots, the streets. Producers of the show say this week's set of performances will be held outside the four walls of the National Theatre.
Two more contestants have been kicked out of the music talent show Vodafone Icons Street Edition. Seed and Zakia, who were in the bottom three with Buddha last week, failed to make it to the next stage of the competition after two of the judges opted to save Buddha. Apietus and guest judge Rudy Kwache saved Buddha, whilst Miss Na opted to save Seed. But her single vote was not enough to see him through to the next round of the competition. But still in the race for the 250,000 Ghana Cedi Grand Prize, though, are Kelvin, Ryan, Marion and Buddha. Now, as the show approaches its finale, organizers are set to pay tribute to where they found the contestants, the streets. Thus, on Thursday, the Icons train will hit the Oxford Street at Osu. So, fans of the show who have never experienced a live performance will have to seize this opportunity, because it just might be the first and last.
Yes. That's it for the bulletin. Before we go to a quick run through our top stories. MPP General Secretary and colleague spared prison sentence for contemptuous remarks, but nonetheless fined and warned to be of good behavior. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has confirmed it will deliver its verdict on the election petition on the 29th of August. Ministry of Trade and Industry designates Kotoka International Airport and Tema and Takoradi Port as the only entry point for imported textiles as it moves to check influx of pirated wax prints. AMA chalks access in its battle to keep national monuments and assets in Accra free of desecration from posters, and GMPC launches foundation to provide training opportunities to close the skills gap in the oil and gas sector. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Israel Lai. Have a good evening.